Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to Breakfast with Sergio. Super excited to be here with you. I have two amazing guests today who are representing the Hague Peace Projects, a support human rights activism organization that you're going to love to hear about. So I have with me Dalila Cataldi. She's a social media manager for the organization, and Vittoria Malgioglio, who's also a project leader. And we're going to learn a lot about the amazing work that they're doing in the world today. Well, hi, Dalila, and hi, Vittoria. Good to see you today. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to this episode. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. And now, for our friends who are watching this, where are you joining us from?
We're in The Hague, in the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands, absolutely. And let me introduce both of you, since both of you are sitting right next to each other, so our friends know who's who. So let's talk a little bit with you, Dalila. If you can introduce yourself a little bit about what is it that you do within the Hague Peace Projects.
Yes, so I'm Dalila. Hi, everyone. I've been joining the Hague Peace Project in March last year, so in the middle of COVID. It was really difficult because joining a peace organization in a time when you cannot meet those people is not really motivating. But we still managed to grow and create a team because it started with me and another girl being the only two working on the social media platforms that we have on the Hague Peace Project. And now we have a team of 10 people. And we are two team leaders, and so far it has been working amazingly, and it's still growing, and everyone is super motivated, and I'm absolutely loving the work that we've been doing so far.
That's awesome. Thank you for the introduction. How about you, Vittoria? Tell us a little bit about what is it that you do within the organization.
Yeah, I joined the organization in September 2020, so also midst of the pandemic. And I created a project that is called the Hague times Beirut, and it's part of the projects that the organization does. And with the help of Dalila, this is the project that we've been focusing on the most since then. I myself, I come from Milan, from Italy. Also Dalila comes from Italy. I studied the Middle East. And this is where my connection with Lebanon comes in, because our project is focused on Lebanon and on human rights. And instead, Dalila, she studied Japan and art.
Oh, awesome! Wonderful. Well, what a great combination, and then also being able to do something that also has a positive impact in the world. So, supporting human rights, is something that it will never go out of date. It's something that is needed and has to be, addressed at every stage, right, of our lifetime. And particularly as we grow up and we become aware of those things and the injustices that are in the world, I think so important to have people like you who continue to bring to the front, the issues that are happening, and how we can also, no matter where we are in the world, can support, can be part of, and helping spread the word on that thing. So let's start from the beginning. For our friends who have never heard about the Hague Peace Projects, let's start there, which is kind of like the overall head organization, and then we'll talk about more specific in the project that you're working on. So maybe Vittoria, tell us a little bit about what is the Hague Peace Projects and what is that organization all about?
Yeah, the Hague Peace Projects is a peace organization that supports human rights activists and human rights all over the globe, and it does so through projects that are initiated to activists and diaspora members, or people that simply connect to a cause and decide that they want to use the tools that are here in The Hague to do something about human rights and to create a more peaceful world.
Fantastic. And then within that, the more specific project that you're working on, tell us a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, the Hague times Beirut is an art fundraiser that is designed to support human rights activists in Beirut, Lebanon. The situation in Lebanon has been escalating for a couple of years now. It's scary. It's simply scary, and it's very important to get the word out there about what's going on at the moment. We created a line of canvases in collaboration with more than 20 Lebanese artists, and with each canvas we are able to support the artists and the activists.
That's amazing. So Dalila, tell us a little bit about how does it work for you as a social media manager and working with content that needs to be, dispersed through all the different social medias, coming into an organization that's all about, the cause of human rights and around the world, and in a world that is very noisy, right? You go in anytime on social media, Instagram, it can get lost. Any message can get lost. So you have a very difficult job of how to break through the noise in order to get the message across. In particular, in a time also of pandemic, where we are all stuck at home, there's a lot more also accessibility to our social media, but at the same time, a lot more noise. So, tell me a little bit about, for you as a social media manager, how do you tell the story of what the project is all about? Also incorporating the artist stories and, tell us a little bit about that, which I'm sure is a big task.
Yeah, for sure. The thing is that misinformation is a big problem at the moment in social media. And that is one of the things that we're trying to tackle with the big group of people that are working on this project at the moment, and the social media team that we have. Everyone is super motivated, and everyone is focused on trying to transmit those values, those core values of the Hague Peace Project and of the Hague Times Beirut as well. And to do that in a way that does not take over the narrative, but it just exposes what is happening in a true and factual way. So we're also collaborating with a lot of groups in Lebanon, such as the lawyers and a lot of NGOs that have just started from literally like the community, and from that they grew up, and what they're doing right now is just giving the right information and trying to portray it in a very truthful way. So what we do is that we try to double check all the sources that we have, and we also work on a way that tries to make it clear for everyone who goes through our Instagram page or our social media pages that what we do is just being there for those people, create this project, working together in order to support people that are not on the same level of fortune that we have at the moment. And we thought that doing that through art on social media might have had much more impact, because also because we chose not to focus solely on art, because what we work with is activism, so a connection with art and activism, which has this added level of value and potential when it comes to show people what is happening, and at the same time to sort of do a call to action without necessarily saying it, because the moment you see something, the moment something touches you empathically, then it's really hard for you to ignore it. And this is why we thought the social media might have been a really powerful way to do it, and art just works very nicely on social media as well.
And maybe let's use that. I think that's a great anchor to then move into the conversation of, what's happening in Lebanon, with the artistic also world there, and how the project is helping or partnering with these artists. Tell me maybe, Victoria, a little bit more about the partnership between the project also with the local artists in Lebanon, and how specifically that looks like.
Yeah, so these artists, they gave us access, they gave us permission to replicate their works on canvas, and for every canvas that we sell, they get a part of the price for themselves. The rest of the price goes into printing, shipping, and the activists.
Right.
And the idea is that not only do we give this payment, which is more of a symbolic payment, but then we manage to spread their names, and we give them this possibility to create international connections and to have their names a little bit more visible outside of Lebanon, because again of what Dalila said, it's already a hard job to be an artist to start with, imagine a situation like that.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And so for our friends who are watching this episode right now, or that maybe they'll be hearing this conversation through a podcast, and the stories and what we're talking about has something that they're now really interested in and asking themselves, and including myself, how can we be part of what you're doing? How can we support the work that you're doing? How can we help artists in Lebanon who are going through this very hard time, these very hardships, which we can only imagine, everyone is going through difficulties at this time, but being an artist who are in Lebanon, that gets multiplied, right? The hardships get multiplied even further. How can we help? Tell me a little bit about how can our friends, if they want to see the work for these artists, as you mentioned, that is available, how can we do that?
Yeah, we have a Shopify website where you can find all our canvases, the stories behind the canvases, and the stories of the artists themselves, as well as, obviously understanding a little bit more of the context that is behind the project. Mm-hmm. And there you can purchase a canvas. That is the most immediate way to help the artists. Or you can make a donation if you can't or don't want to buy a canvas. There are many ways in which you can help us, like sharing, talking about it, reaching out to us if you want to offer your own pieces or your own feedback, or even just shoot a message to the people that you connect to the most and let them know that they are not alone.
Right, absolutely. So what is the website where kind of friends can find the canvases?
Everything is in the link in bio of our Instagram page.
Perfect. So our friends can go to the Hague Peace Projects on Instagram and just click on the link, and then they will find all kinds of amazing information about the organization, including the Shopify store where we can also be supported. And you can also read about all the many other projects that you guys are involved in working on. As far as, Dalila, as far as social media, how can our friends also help spread the word? Let's say we want to give them a little call to action. What is something easy that somebody anywhere in the world can do to help spread the word?
I would say just resharing our content. And so we are trying to reach out to a lot of people through DMs as well on Instagram. And we're trying to understand better our audience and divide it according to categories so as to understand whether artists or people interested in Lebanon are the ones that respond the most. And when people ask us how they can share, how they can talk about our project, we either have some very simple posts that we already made that give an overview and explanation of the project that we asked to reshare, or we also created a collection of posts that can be reshared and that we can send to people. So just contact us. We're more than open to respond. And remember that behind all of this, behind the Hague Times Beirut, there's a lot of very young people. Mm-hmm. So we're always willing to start conversation and hearing any kind of tips or feedback or advice. This is the first time for us to work on something this big, and we're all very motivated, but we don't necessarily have all the connections and tools yet.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm sure that many of our friends will reach out to you and also, we'll connect and we want to be part of this. And that's how we connected on Instagram, right? And that's kind of these social media platforms make the world a lot smaller, helps us to reach out more people. And what a great way to do it, also with a great cause behind it, and supporting the people who are in the ground, who are going through difficulties, to also, stand for human rights across the globe. And what a great way to do so. Awesome. Well, as we close for today, thank you so much, first of all, for being here and for being there together to have these conversations. Any last words, Victoria, that you want to give to our friends before we go?
I would like to thank you, Sergio, for giving us this opportunity to take an interest. I would like to thank everyone that is listening for taking the time. And I would like to share this one last thing that I've been receiving in the past days. So even though the project is still, picking up and gaining speed, we are being reached out by our collaborators and the people that we work with. And they're saying that knowing that there is people outside of Lebanon in other continents that are working and that care, that just simply care, that makes their day. That makes them feel like they're not alone. And this is a feeling that everyone deserves to have, I think.
That's
so this is the last food for thought that I would like to throw in there.
We're all in it together.
Well, thank you. Both of you have been amazing. Congratulations on everything you're doing. Giving you a big hug from a distance. And thanks for all the information you have provided. And there's a couple of things that I'm going to ask everyone who's watching this or listening to do. First of all, make sure you go and follow the Hague Peace Projects on social media, whatever it is your preferred social media channel. Make sure you follow them. Send them a message that you saw this podcast or you saw this video or heard this podcast. And also the second thing you guys can do for us is make sure you click on the share button as soon as you're done. Click on the share button because we want to spread the word to a lot more people. So everyone can do the click share. So thanks everyone. We'll see you in the next episode. Have a good day. Goodbye.